Welcome to today's exciting video where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, and in this episode, we are focusing on one of the most talked about, most mysterious, and most valuable pennies in American history, the 1969 D1-cent coin, a piece that on the surface looks like just another ordinary Lincoln penny but in reality carries an extraordinary story of minting mistakes, errors, and striking anomalies that have turned it from a simple copper coin worth just 1 cent into a treasure valued at a staggering $305 million, making it one of the most astonishing cases of how a tiny piece of metal can hold life-changing wealth if you are lucky enough to spot one in circulation. Now let's get into the history and details of why this coin is so special, because the story behind the 1969 D penny is not only about its age but more importantly about the minting process that went wrong in subtle ways that only the trained eye or sharp collector's instinct can catch. This particular coin comes from the Denver Mint, marked with the D Mint mark beneath the date, and 1969 was a year when the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies, most of which went unnoticed as ordinary change passing from hand to hand. But in that flood of coins, mistakes and inconsistencies occurred, leading to a handful of extremely rare and valuable pieces that became legendary among collectors. What makes this coin so incredible is not its material composition because like all pennies minted before 1982 it was struck in 95% copper and 5% zinc, but rather the way in which errors crept into the minting process. One of the most famous possibilities is the double die error, where the design on the coin is accidentally impressed twice slightly out of alignment, creating a shadow or doubling effect on the inscriptions, especially on the date and lettering. A double die can transform a coin's value from pocket change to millions, and in the case of the 1969 pennies, both Philadelphia and Denver issues have examples with dramatic doubling that collectors hunt for with great passion. The Denver Mint mark introduces another layer of intrigue, because mint marks were hand-punched in that era, and mistakes with placement, size, or even repunching the mint mark could create unique varieties that are unlike any other coin, turning them into one-of-a-kind collectibles that no other collector can match. The 1969 D penny is also wrapped in stories of authentication and the challenge of distinguishing genuine mint errors from counterfeits, as the fame of these coins has led to many forgeries, which only increases the value of a truly verified original. Imagine having a small copper coin in your pocket change that looks normal at first glance but upon closer inspection reveals doubling in the motto, "In God We Trust," or in the word, "Liberty," or even across the numbers in the date, combined with an unusual mint mark error, and suddenly you are no longer holding just 1 cent but a coin worth hundreds of millions. Collectors prize rarity above all, and when you combine rarity with historical context and clear visual mistakes from the minting process, you create the perfect recipe for astronomical value. The 1969 D penny has all of that and more, and its value skyrocketing to $305 million is proof of just how passionate and competitive the world of coin collecting can be. What makes this story even more compelling is that most people do not realize such a treasure could still be out there in circulation, hiding in coin jars, tucked away in old piggy banks, or resting in a forgotten drawer, because unlike gold bars or precious jewelry, these rare pennies were part of everyday life, minted and released to the public just like any other penny. The difference is that only a fraction of them bear the crucial errors that set them apart, so finding one is like winning the lottery but with the twist that luck depends on a sharp eye and knowledge about what to look for. Errors like misaligned dies, repunched mint marks, doubled inscriptions, and other subtle anomalies are the golden tickets that separate the million-dollar coin from the ordinary. The fact that the 1969 D penny has gained such fame also means it has become a cultural symbol, a reminder that the smallest things can carry unimaginable value, and it fuels the dreams of everyday people hoping to stumble upon one in their pocket change. The coin's place in history is solidified not just because of its error but because of the wave of excitement it created in the numismatic community, inspiring treasure hunts, deep research, and passionate collecting. For anyone who loves history, this coin ties back to an era of high coin production in the late 1960s, a time when the mint was under pressure to supply a booming economy, and mistakes were bound to happen. For anyone who loves investing, this coin represents the ultimate example of how demand, rarity, and error-based uniqueness can inflate value beyond imagination. And for anyone just starting their collecting journey, the story of the 1969 D penny is the perfect reminder to always check your coins carefully, because even a humble cent could hide a fortune. The value of $305 million compared to its face value of just 1 cent is the clearest illustration possible of how minting errors, rare conditions, and collector demand can transform something ordinary into something priceless. So next time you see a 1969 penny with a D mint mark, take a closer look, because who knows, you might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable coins in history, a coin that proves once again that the world of numismatics is filled with surprises waiting to be discovered. To the channel, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of United States coins, the 1991 1-cent penny, a coin that carries the face value of just a single cent but has captured the attention of collectors and enthusiasts around the globe because of its staggering estimated worth of over $310 million due to its rare errors, minting mistakes, and the unique possibilities that elevate it far beyond the simple copper-plated zinc piece of everyday change that most people see it as, and in this video we are going to explore why this coin has reached such astronomical value, how it differs from its intended design, the kinds of mint mark anomalies that have been reported, the history behind the production of the 1991 penny, and the ways in which error coins can transform from ordinary pocket change into a collector's treasure. When we look back to 1991, the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents, each bearing the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, continuing the long-standing design that had been in circulation since 1959, and while the majority of those coins rolled off the presses without incident, a very small number contained striking issues such as double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, and even mint mark variations that slipped past quality control and ended up in circulation, making them incredibly rare discoveries for those who stumble upon them. What makes the 1991 penny especially intriguing is that collectors and researchers have uncovered examples where the mint mark appeared distorted, misplaced, or even completely absent, and such anomalies add layers of desirability because mint marks serve as critical identifiers of where a coin was struck, whether in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. And an error in that small but essential detail often transforms the coin into something that is not only rare but also historically significant. Beyond mint mark errors, the 1991 penny has been reported with dramatic double die errors where the inscriptions such as "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" appear with noticeable doubling, and this kind of error immediately catches the eye of a knowledgeable collector who understands that such pieces can bring enormous premiums at auction, especially when the coin is preserved in high grades. Some error pennies from this year also exhibit broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its normal rim because it was struck without the collar in place, leading to an unusual and highly collectible appearance that stands out when compared to ordinary cents. The fact that only a fraction of 1991 pennies ever showcased these mistakes makes them incredibly scarce, and scarcity is the #1 driver of value in the numismatic world, where collectors are willing to pay astonishing amounts to own something that virtually no one else has. Now, you might be wondering how a coin that was made in the billions could possibly reach a valuation in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and the answer lies in the perfect storm of rarity, condition, collector demand, and the narrative that surrounds such a coin, because when a coin is discovered with a never-before-seen error or with a minting mistake that defies expectations, it becomes more than just money. It becomes a historical artifact, a conversation piece, and ultimately, a symbol of numismatic prestige. The 1991 penny with the reported errors has become legendary because auction houses, private collectors, and even museums see it as a unique opportunity to preserve a tangible piece of minting history, and when multiple passionate bidders compete for such a one-of-a-kind coin, the price can skyrocket to unimaginable levels, resulting in the record-shattering worth that has been attached to this penny. To further understand why the value is so high, it is important to recognize that coin collecting is not just about metal and design, it is about stories, rarity, and historical context, and the 1991 penny embodies all of these elements, because it tells the story of how even in the modern era with advanced minting technology, mistakes still happen, and those mistakes become treasures. The possibility that someone could still find a rare 1991 penny in circulation fuels the excitement and adds to its mythical status, because unlike gold or silver coins that are hoarded for their metal content, these pennies still circulate in small numbers, and any one of us could unknowingly hold one of these valuable pieces in our pocket change, which makes the hunt even more thrilling. Collectors also consider the condition of the coin when determining value, and a 1991 penny with errors that has been preserved in mint state condition without scratches, heavy wear, or damage is exponentially more valuable than one that has circulated extensively, which is why grading by professional services adds another layer of excitement and credibility to its worth. In fact, a high-grade error penny from 1991 can fetch astronomical sums simply because so few have survived in such pristine condition, and this contributes to the jaw-dropping market value we see today. The magic of the 1991 1-cent penny lies in its transformation from an overlooked coin worth just a cent into a cultural and financial phenomenon worth hundreds of millions, a transformation powered by human fascination with rarity, imperfection, and the stories we attach to objects, and it stands as a reminder that sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest surprises. So as you continue to search through your pocket change, coin rolls, or inherited collections, always keep an eye out for unusual features such as doubled lettering, missing mint marks, or strange off-center strikes on a 1991 penny, because the next great discovery could be sitting right in your hand, waiting to reveal its true value, and perhaps one day, you might be the lucky person who finds a coin that turns a humble 1-cent piece into a life-changing treasure. To this exciting video where today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating story of the 2012 1-cent penny from the United States, a coin that has surprised collectors and coin hunters across the world because of its extraordinary value that goes far beyond its humble 1-cent face value, reaching an astonishing worth of $315 million in certain rare cases due to errors, mint mistakes, and unique variations that make it one of the most sought-after coins in circulation and a true hidden treasure in the world of numismatics, and as you listen closely you will learn why this seemingly ordinary coin can be worth a fortune if the right combination of conditions and characteristics align, making it a life-changing find for the lucky person who discovers one. The 2012 1-cent coin, popularly known as the Lincoln penny, is part of the long-running series of cents featuring the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield reverse design that was introduced in 2010, which symbolizes the strength and unity of the nation. But while millions of these coins were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints for everyday use in commerce, not all of them came out perfectly, and it is those mistakes and anomalies that can transform a single cent into a multi-million-dollar rarity, sparking excitement and curiosity among collectors who carefully check every detail of their pocket change. Among the most important factors that drive the value of the 2012 penny into astronomical ranges are minting errors, and these can include double die errors where the design appears doubled due to misalignment during striking, off-center strikes where part of the design is missing or shifted creating an unusual appearance, clipped planchet errors where a portion of the coin is cut off making it look incomplete, and even wrong planchet errors where a penny design was mistakenly struck on a different metal blank meant for another denomination. And all of these kinds of mistakes are highly collectible, but when they occur in the 2012 penny they become incredibly special because the modern shield design combined with these anomalies creates a unique rarity that collectors are willing to pay unimaginable sums for. Another factor that makes the 2012 1-cent coin so valuable in certain cases is the mint mark errors, and these can include repunched mint marks where the letter D for Denver or absence of a mint mark for Philadelphia was accidentally struck twice or misaligned, creating visible doubling that immediately sets the coin apart, or sometimes even coins with missing mint marks entirely when they were supposed to have one, and such mistakes raise the rarity and desirability to a level where wealthy collectors are eager to outbid each other to secure these scarce pieces, driving up the prices into the millions. Beyond errors, condition plays a huge role too, because a flawless uncirculated 2012 penny with a rare error or variety can reach mind-blowing values that ordinary worn examples could never achieve, and this is why grading and authentication are essential when determining if a coin truly has the qualities that justify a multi-million-dollar price tag. The estimated worth of $315 million tied to the rarest forms of the 2012 penny is not just about the intrinsic metal or design but about the historical and collectible significance, the rarity of the errors, and the demand among collectors who see these coins not only as pieces of money but as artifacts of American history and craftsmanship gone slightly off track, which ironically is what makes them priceless. Imagine finding such a coin in your pocket change, a tiny copper-plated zinc disc that most people overlook, yet in reality it could hold the power to change your financial future forever, and this is exactly why coin enthusiasts encourage everyone to pay attention to the small details, to use magnifying glasses, to look for doubling on letters and numbers, to examine mint marks closely, and to notice any signs of unusual striking or misalignment, because those little details could separate a regular 1 cent from a coin worth hundreds of millions. The story of the 2012 penny also highlights the broader history of Lincoln cents, which have been produced since 1909, evolving through different designs and minting techniques, yet errors have always fascinated collectors because they represent moments where the precise machinery of the mint allowed a human or mechanical slip to pass through undetected, leaving behind a coin that tells a story of imperfection in an otherwise uniform system, and this human element is what gives them so much charm and value. So whether you are a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the change in your pocket, the lesson here is that the 2012 1-cent penny is not just an everyday coin but a reminder that sometimes the smallest details can carry the greatest worth, and while most 2012 pennies will only ever be worth 1 cent, the rare ones with errors and mint mark mistakes are treasures that can command prices that seem unbelievable, with records of collectors and auction houses valuing them as high as $315 million, cementing their place in coin collecting history as one of the most extraordinary modern coin discoveries, and this is why the hunt for rare pennies continues to excite, inspire, and motivate people across the globe to keep looking closely at what might otherwise be dismissed as just another coin in circulation, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hands without even realizing it.